Hello, this is 7th period on Wednesday, and we're doing our live video since we always do one on Wednesday or Thursday. However, today I'm not posting a new assignment because most people are still working on the ones we have, and I'm still grading the ones we have. Hopefully I'll finish some of that during the period now. The Chatbot Warmup project is our thing. And so later, you're going to be doing a chatbot with a group of people working on a big thing. Now you're doing a small one with a single person to get a feel for the basics. And the first part, after our sort of intro stuff this quarter over here, the first part was a template to get you a web page that fires up and it says hi and you say hi and then that's it. Everything else it would say we don't understand. But now that you have that, you can get into it and make interesting stuff. So your project step 3 is the code, which we're actually going to look at. And then step 2, which I did in a different order because I wanted to save that for the e-learning day. Step 2 was the one asking about the personality. Like, what do you want it to be? Welcoming and say like, oh, I can help you. Just feel free whenever you're ready. Or do you want it to be asking questions like, oh, tell me this, like pushing you for certain things? Or do you want it to be very neutral and not going out of its way to be human polite? Or do you want it to have, you can change your goal, but you want to have an idea of a certain type of personality. And they have a little video and a couple little bullet points, but you can look at that. Anyway, step 3 is the big one and the one that you probably are working on and you probably are not finished with. So we're going to look at a couple examples. If I can get this replit to run, I've had several replits open for different classes and it would sometimes still think the previous one was running. So this is what you get if you follow that template. Later we'll change the color and all that good stuff. But the first thing I added was what's your name? And if I type what's your name, it works. It says my name is Luigi, and you might notice right away that I didn't type exactly the same thing here as here, because this code, this particular Rivescript code, not all stuff, okay, it's different for each language or each file type or whatever, but this doesn't like apostrophes, it doesn't like question marks. If you put those in there, it'll tell you to take them out. Okay, see that? It'll tell you it doesn't want this stuff in here. So they have made it so that it will accept input with that stuff. So if I say what's your name and type that exact thing, if I can type, then it takes it. But if I do capital apostrophe question, it still takes it. It's sort of like being case sensitive, which is part of it. It doesn't mind the case change, but it also doesn't mind throwing in punctuation. So that's one thing, is if you were trying to write your inputs and outputs with a certain convention, punctuation, capital, whatever, you can't do it in here, but you can do it in here, or the user can do it in here. So that's not a worry. And if I remember right, I think there is some way, like some extra little layer you can add to get it to accept a few more things, but that's not what we want. So another possibility, another thing they mention in the instructions here is to have an input with 2 outputs. So you could say, how are you? And then it asks, or it answers good or bad. Okay, so if I say, let's try the capital and question thing, then it says one of these. And if you have 2, it's a 50-50. Hey, look at that. We got one of each. If you have two, it's a 50-50. But you might have noticed on there, I had something that said weight. And you can add weight to your answers with maybe you want one most of the time, and then the other ones are rare. You often see that in like a video game. If you talk to a character, well, then most of the time they say one thing, but every once in a while they'll, you know, surprise you with a different outcome. That is just a number. You say weight and then a number. So like I did 1 and 2, meaning this is twice as much as this, but you could do 33 and 66, you know, like think of it in terms of percentages. Pretty sure it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna do like a handful. You see that it's definitely doing bad more than good, and we have the bad with double the weight. In fact, now it's exactly 2 to 1. It's 4 to 2. So that is one layer you can add. Is you can add the weight to it of maybe you want one answer like almost all. You could have it 99 to 1, so that 99% of the time they would say bad, but every once in a while they would surprise you. So that's how you do the weight. There are other things it mentions. You can have it take a word from their input and then use it. So like if it says if the person says my name is Sue, then the bot can say hello Sue. Or if the person says I am sad, it can say why are you sad, or something like that. So you can click here, and some of those links aren't working, but it is always open for the classic Control F search. So if you use these wildcards, they will accept whatever the person puts, and you don't have to use it, but you can. So for example, in the template, there's a wildcard, and that just means no matter what, it'll say, sorry, I don't understand that. Okay. Which is still left if it's checked all these guys that we've added and there's something else, you know, then it'll say, sorry, I don't understand. But if we have an asterisk, a wildcard, and then we use it, it's called *1 or *2 if it's the second one in a line. So if it's like, you know, X told me to say Y, then X, the first thing, is *1, and Y, the second thing, is *2. So it could be like, you know, let's add one. My favorite food is what? And then we're going to go, and then let's go, I also like *1. That should work. Let's give it a shot. My favorite food is, what is our favorite food? I'm asking the people in class. What should we put? They're not saying anything. Potato. And then it goes, I also like potato. So when you take the star, you can reference it. That is super useful, obviously, and it makes it feel like the computer is, you know, quote unquote thinking. It makes it feel like the computer's participating, even though it doesn't do anything with the info. Like if I said my favorite food is golf clubs, it would say I also like that, even though that wouldn't make sense, you know. It wouldn't it wouldn't take that in, consider it, and then go, wait a minute, your favorite food is, you know, eyeballs. It is using a little bit of language that sounds reasonable, and if we make it complicated enough, it would be reasonable. But at first, it just plays along with some basic stuff, which is okay because that's what we do in simple, basic conversation. If somebody's walking down the hall and says, "How are you?" I'm not actually going to respond with how I am. I'm not going to like tell them a story about my feelings or something. I'm just going to say, "Yeah, good, fine. What's up with you?" And then they will also not tell me anything interesting. So if you need to do the basics, it doesn't require understanding. Okay, now if we had to make a bot that could talk generally about everything, that would take, you know, a galaxy flowchart with 1 million nodes. But A, we don't have to do that, and B, your thing, your eventual project, is going to be limited to a topic. It'll be like, hey, I'm going to tell you about, you know, heart disease, the examples on the project page, or health stuff. Or it could be, I'm going to tell you what type of shoe you should buy and what kind of activities do you like to do and stuff like that. And that can be really boxed in and limited in a way that'll make some sense. So that is what we're working on. Some of you guys are already, you know, a fair bit along, and you've got like a couple steps into it where it's like you ask a question and then you take something from it and then you ask another question. That's when it gets good, and that's when it gets interesting. That is sort of related to a flowchart, the idea of a flowchart. It doesn't work always the same because it's kind of like more likely to send you back to the beginning than a real flowchart where you're in the path and you continue on the path. This one has the chance of always starting back from scratch. But it is the same type of thought. So take a look through this, and also what I really like to do is take a look through this example that I showed you a week or so ago, because once you get past that substitution stuff, here's where you see it in action. And when I learn these kind of things, you know, once I have the general idea, I don't want to see the rule. I want to see an example of it. So like when you are going to write name questions, I think you learn more by looking at this than by looking at these in the documentation. However, that's just my taste, and both of these are in the classroom assignments. There's one step, here's another step, and it's all linked, you know, multiple ways. So today, no new assignment. We're going to be working on this part. However, if you do get it good and you're really happy with the basic version, then feel free to click next and look at the next parts, because pretty soon we're going to be looking to finish our individual project and get to the group project. However, we don't want to rush. So I'm going to give you this one day while the other class does the same stuff. They're going to be starting this one tomorrow, actually, and then we'll all be on the same page. Hopefully I can grade and get caught up on that part too, and you guys will be in good shape. Thanks. Okay, I ended that.